Good morning. What is going on, Lake Pro Tackle fam? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we are taking a look at the brand new Daiwa Tatula rods. Now, here at the shop, Lake Pro Tackle, we've got a good amount of Daiwa rods already. Of course, the fan favorite Daiwa Kage rods, which are in-store exclusives. You can come in the store here, check those out. We've got Steve's rods, Tatula Elite rods, got Airdexes. We got a pretty good array of the Daiwa rod spectrum, and introducing, these 2025 rods here. These are a rod that we've never brought in before. Of course, like I said, Steve's, Tatula Elite, Airidex, these Tatula rods we were extremely impressed with when our rep Brian came by along with some of the corporate guys, and they showed us a couple prototypes of these rods and a couple of the final product. And right off the bat, the aesthetics on these rods are absolutely incredible. Daiwa kept it extremely simple while, maintaining a very beautiful looking rod. These bad boys are coming in at an amazing price range of $150. If you're looking for an entry level rod where you can have great sensitivity, a wide range of powers, actions, technique specific rods, these are the ones you'll have to check out. Of course, here at Lake Pro Tackle, we really try to get that high grade cork in a lot of our rods, is seen in like G Loomis and X Pride, as well as Mega Bass and a bunch of other rods here. But we love the cork. EVA foam is great. It feels pretty good. However, for the longevity and fishability of your rod, we definitely prefer the cork route. You can protect your cork in many ways, but we just feel like the cork is superior in a lot of ways to the EVA. In this lineup of Daiwa Tatula rods, there are several different models, as well as a bunch of different handle designs, as well as handle lengths, and they get very technique specific with these rods in particular. Going along with the aesthetics, it's got Tatula right along the top. And I do want to mention, before we get too far into this video here, that Daiwa is offering a free shirt promotion. So this is going to be an AFCO Daiwa shirt. It's going to be a collaboration shirt just for Tatula products. And if you order any Tatula products from now until, I believe, the end of May or start of May, somewhere around there, you've got a good amount of time. You can send the barcode into Daiwa along with a $5 check, and they're going to ship you out a Daiwa shirt. It is really comfortable. Again, these are AFCO shirts, very high quality. So if you are interested in purchasing a Tatula rod or a Tatula reel, let us know. We can help you out. We have several printed forms here at the shop, so if you do order one of these, we will ship you that form as well, and all you'll need to do is just write out a $5 check, and that's really just to cover the cost of shipping those shirts out for y'all. Going back to these rods here, again, absolutely stunning. They have the reel seat Tatula. They have a Tatula logo on the reel seat. And mentioning the reel seat, these are Daiwa proprietary reel seats just for Daiwa products and Tatula products. The reel seat itself is very comfortable. It doesn't have an open face to where you have feel on the blank like the air sensor reel seats that you see on Kage or Steez. But overall, this is a very strong reel seat. I think it's very comfortable. It's not bulging out too much. It's very streamlined, and when you put a reel on it, it's almost like it's not there. You do have a little bit of a point at the end here, but it's nothing super sharp, nothing abrasive about it. And there's not a lot of curve to it. I see a lot of rods now where the trigger here has a ton of curve. I don't like that because my finger will get caught in it. This one, my finger and hand slides over very nicely. Very palmable, and it feels very wonderful, like I said earlier. Another piece of aesthetic on this rod, not only is the blank itself very cool, it also has a really neat lockdown system here. It's just an aesthetic thing, but when it comes to when I'm looking down at my rod all the time, or see it on the deck of the boat, I want it to look pretty good as well, of course. So we will go over all the different models here in this video, so stay tuned. It's going to be a little bit of a longer one. I'm going to tell you kind of what I would throw on the rod, how it might compare to some of the other rods we have in the shop here. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Kicking it off in the bait casting version, because I know a lot of you probably watching this video are more curious about the baitcasters. We've got 5 different models in baitcasting, 5 in spinning. We didn't get the full lineup in, we just don't have capacity to carry all of the rods, but these were the ones we were most impressed with. So kicking it off, this is the Tatula multi-purpose light rod. This is a 7-foot rod, and it's going to come in at a medium, rated for 1/8 to 1/2 ounce. Now this rod here is going to be a little bit more of what I call a medium plus, where it's got a very good solid medium body in the first half of the rod, and then it kind of strengthens up in the very back, a little more similar to me like a medium heavy. So it's going to be a great all-purpose Texas rig. You could throw chatterbait, a spinner bait. You can throw any of those lighter techniques, maybe something like a sleeper craw, even a sleeper gill would be pretty good on this. It is rated up to 1/2 ounce, which, you know, the rating system on rods, you can usually push them just a little bit. I think these are going to be a little bit underpowered. You know, I talked to a couple of the Daiwa corporate guys last year, a couple years before that, and, you know, a lot of people now are overpowering their rods way too much, so they wanted to limit some of those warranty concerns with rating their rods too high. And I think this is a very good baseline. You know, that 7-foot medium, you typically won't go over 1/2 ounce on that on any other rod brand, but you know, you can push it maybe to 5/8 of an ounce, kind of get in that range. And it also depends on what hooks you're using, if you're using a single hook versus treble hook baits. Next up here is the multi-purpose, so the bigger brother to the regular multi-purpose light. This is a 7-foot 3 rod. It's a medium heavy. This one's rated for 1/4 to 1 ounce. Now this is a very fast rod. This is going to be a true medium heavy, where it does bend a little bit deeper into the blank here, but it's going to have a good amount of power on that front side, front taper. Another thing about this rod is I highly recommend this rod for just flipping Texas rigs, jigs, anything where you don't need a ton of parabolic action, something a little more springy. This is going to be a great rod for that. So whether you're going out there and throwing a lighter frog, maybe like a Cara frog, or something smaller like that, maybe a Pad Crasher Junior, this is going to be a great rod for that. You can throw braid on this. Now I don't recommend super heavy braid with super heavy techniques, but you could definitely throw like a whopper plopper out there, a chopo, something of that nature with treble hooks that still you want a little bit of that faster action, that faster get up when you set the hook, especially for braided line. But it is a multi-purpose Texas rig. You can Carolina, you can even throw finesse A rigs. This would be a finesse A rig rod for me. Definitely fits that mini blades of glory, in which we also got a restock of mini blades, so definitely check those out on the website. Moving along here, this is going to be the moving bait rod. It's a 7-foot rod. It's going to be a medium, and it's going to be a little more parabolic. It's got a very good, strong bend throughout the entire rod. It's going to be a moderate fast action on the tip there. Imagine this multi-purpose light and just dull it down just a little bit. You can tell the blank itself is a little bit thicker, not wall thicker, but a little bit bigger overall, and that helps a little bit more of that moderate action. And I didn't mention these are X45 blanks. They reduce a little bit of the side-to-side movement that you see in a lot of blanks, and keeps everything very streamlined, very quick, very focused. So this moving bait rod, like I was saying earlier as well, the handle is going to be a little bit different, and the reel seat's going to be a little bit different as well. It's going to be a little bit bigger to fit this bigger blank, as well as having a full grip. And I really like the full grip in this one. It feels very comfortable when I'm just sitting here and I want to crank all day, or I want to throw a chatterbait. I know some people like really limber rods for their chatterbaits or moving baits and stuff like that, and this rod can definitely cover it. I wouldn't throw anything above maybe 5/8 of an ounce for a moving bait. This is going to be definitely more towards your crankbaits, like a 3XD, something like that. 1.5, you could get away with it. I might go a little bit lighter on a 1.5, but this overall is one of the better feeling moving bait rods that I've ever felt from a $150 rod. Now this rod is rated for 1/8 to ½ ounce. Like I said, I wouldn't go too far over ½ an ounce, especially with single hook moving baits, but treble hooks, of course, are a little bit different. All right, next up is going to be the bladed lures rod. This is going to be a 7'2" heavy rod rated for 1/4 to 1½ ounces. That's a huge range, but the special thing about this rod, y'all, is it's going to be a glass composite rod. Now, glass composite rods are not my favorite. You know, I fished the Super Combat Stick. It feels good. I just don't like how heavy the weight is. But if you're someone that absolutely loves glass style rods, this one's going to be for you. This rod here, again, 7'2" heavy. It's got a very good amount of backbone. But again, this is more of a glass rod. It has a very moderately slower action on the tip. If you're throwing bigger chatterbaits or bigger spinner baits, something like that, this is going to be a great rod. I would make sure to have a faster gear ratio to make sure you can keep up with those fish, because again, this thing is going to bend an absolute ton when you set the hook. And speaking of a ton, this thing in comparison, it doesn't weigh a ton compared to something like this. They are very, very similar. Of course, it is going to be a little bit heavier with the glass in there, but it feels absolutely amazing. The handle is going to be almost the exact same. Of course, a little bit longer, being a longer rod in the handle section here. So you have a little bit more cork, and you know, that is ultimately going to help you get longer casting distance as well. You use that back end more as a fulcrum to launch your baits out there. So when it comes to cranking, chatterbaits, stuff like that, that one is going to be a great one, especially for your bigger crankbaits. Moving along here, final bait casting rod. Of course, we had to get the free rig and big worm rod. Now, this rod here, when I look for free rig rods and when I look for Carolina rig, big worm rods, I have to have a good amount of parabolic action, at least to the midway point of the rod. Keeping those fish pinned is number one. When they come up for big jumps out of deep water, they're usually extremely violent and have a tendency to pop the hook out. So with this rod here, that was one of the main concerns we had. It's a very, very soft tip in my opinion. This is a much softer tip. It's going to be just, I would say, just a regular fast action tip, and it's going to have a good amount of bend in the middle part of the rod, and it's going to have a good amount of power and backbone. This thing here stiffens up in the last two guides. Again, this is a 7'3" rod. It feels incredibly balanced in my hand for $150. You slap a reel on it and it's gonna feel even better. You know, something like this, I would probably put a Tatula Elite. You know, it's got a decent spool capacity. It's got a great braking system, and it is going to balance out this rod very, very nicely. So this one here specifically rated for 1/4 to 1 ounce. That's about probably what I'd throw on it. I definitely wouldn't overpower this rod with anything over an ounce. I think this is also going to be a great frogging topwater style rod if you're looking for a 7'3". Buzz baits, bigger whopper ploppers, you can throw frogs, again, regular pad crashers or gavachos, something like that. This is a great overall rod if you like a little bit longer, sort of multi-purpose, moving into more of the Texas rig and bottom contact. This is going to be a great one for you. All right, moving into the spinning category, we've got 5 to go through here. I'm gonna start with the most unique one, and that is going to be this one right here. This is going to be the Finesse Game 7-foot rod. This is a 2-piece rod. Check this out. So with the 2-piece rods, of course, it's 2 pieces, but they do have a couple different models. This is just the normal one we got in. The Finesse Game is going to be your multi-purpose finesse tactics, wacky rigs, Ned rigs. You can throw moving baits on this. It's got a very good amount of bend all the way into the ferrule here, and still even in the backbone of the rod, it's a good amount of just overall whatever you want to throw on it. Specifically, this is going to be a 7-foot medium rated for 1/8 to ½ an ounce. I personally probably would not throw ½ an ounce on this rod unless it's a moving bait maybe. I would say this is more rated towards that 3/8 of an ounce. Now, I haven't fished this one specifically, but just feeling it, you know, right here, the half an ounce is going to be very, very close. You're going to be hard pressed to find half an ounce that you can really effectively set the hook. Maybe a Texas rig, something like that. Lighter free rigs, maybe 3/16. Quarter ounce would be a very, very good go-to for this one here. So the Finesse Game 7 foot, available in 2-piece. And let's keep moving here, keep chugging along. What do I want to go with first? Let's go in height order. So this one here is the 1-piece Finesse Game. It's a 6'10" rod, basically taking out that extra length from the ferruling of the rod. This one here, 6'10" medium, rated for, how the heck did they rate this? 3/64 to 3/8. That sounds about right. That is basically what I would throw on this one exactly, whether it's a Megabass Z2 crankbait, Z1 crankbait, you know, Ned rigs, drop shots. This is going to be a great all around. It has a moderately fast tip as well as just a true, very, very good medium action all the way through the rod. If you're looking for something for dock skipping or, you know, shooting almost, getting up undercover, this rod does have enough backbone to get them out of it, but it's still light enough to use in open water if you really want to. So it's very good multi-purpose Finesse Game rod, lighter hooks. That's kind of what I got. And this is also a good jerkbait rod. If you're someone like me that doesn't like throwing jerkbaits on a spinning rod, just talk to Tim. He might be able to convince you. This is going to be a great rod. Very reactive, yet still has a good amount of bend and you know, snap in it for jerkbaits. So if you're into that, definitely check this one out. Moving right along into this one here. This is the Universal Light 7'1", rated for 3/64 to 3/8. Now this one here specifically is a medium light rod. It's a little bit longer with a little bit lesser of a power than what we just looked at with that Finesse Game. It's going to have a much lighter tip section moving into the middle part of the rod here. This rod is going to be a drop shot king, a Ned rig king, anything with ultra light hooks. This is going to be the rod I am choosing. So another thing about this, it is utilizing Fuji guides. These guides are, I mean, these are great guides. You know, I have zero complaints about these. I do like how it utilizes the, I guess, snag-free, tangle-free guide system, where even if your braid does loop, it's going to fall off and not have the issue. I don't know if you've run into it, but I've run into it using super, super light braid where you cast too hard and your line loops off and it snags this and it just creates a whole mess. These have kind of more that tangle-free design where it just slides off, doesn't cause those issues. But this rod right here, if I was to choose one out of this series, the 7'1" medium light would probably be my go-to. This thing is extremely balanced. Of course, I didn't mention on the spinning rods, they have this cork system here where you hold it above or you can hold it in the middle. Gives you a lot of options on where you want to hold your rod. You know, pairing something up with this, the Tatula MQ's a great reel for it. The regular Tatula as well, the Tatula Elite. You know, there's a lot of different spinning reels you can put on this. You don't need something super complicated. This is an extremely, extremely light series of rods. These spinning especially are not very top heavy, so you don't need a 3,000-4,000. I would honestly keep it in the 2,500 range, but if you want that extra pickup with the 3,000, you can definitely put that on here as well. So this Universal Light Rod, super, super amazing. Again, 3/64 to 3/8. I wouldn't throw anything super, super heavy on this. You know, wacky rig's gonna feel great, drop shot's gonna feel great, Ned rig, all your finesse tactics are going to go extremely well on this rod right here. So definitely give this one a try. And when it comes to the moderacy of the rod, you're gonna get amazing casting distance anyway. So you don't want to overpower the rod too much. All right, next one here. If I was to choose a second one, this would probably be my go-to. This is the small swim bait and drop shot rod. It's a 7'3", so a little bit longer. It is going to be a medium, more along the lines of like a medium plus-ish, if that makes any sense. It's a medium rod. It's a true medium rod where that tip section is going to be a fast action, but it is, it's very, very bendy into the latter half. It does have a good amount of backbone, so if you are using a bigger single hook for your swim baits or your power shotting, this is going to be a great rod for that. Coming in at 7'3", you're getting a really, really good casting distance. Throwing a Okashir screw head probably wouldn't do very well on this one, especially in a 1/8 ounce variety. I would choose that Universal Light as opposed to this one right here. This is more for your bigger, a little bit bigger, like maybe 1/4 ounce jig head minnows, something like that. This is also optionally going to be a good scoping rod. You do have enough backbone and power to really launch your bait out there while still maintaining the ability to hook set into those fish. So drop shots, I have my favorites. This one would be pretty good for that. Again, it does have a good moderate taper throughout the entire rod up until the very back, which, when you kind of set the hook and you're sitting there, you've got to utilize some of that backbone, get that fish out of cover if you're fishing around timber or brush piles or something like that. So this one here, again, probably my second favorite one in this lineup of spinning. Moving into the final spinning rod that we have here. This is one that we had to get in. If you're familiar with us here, you're familiar with the way I fish. The 902 is by far one of my favorite rods for universally anything that I want to throw. This one here is called the Universal Long Cast, 7'6", and it's a medium light medium, which means the tip section on this is really, 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 really soft, moving into more of a medium backbone. What that's going to do is allow this rod to load up extremely, extremely tight and launch it out there utilizing the full action and power of the rod. The reason I like longer rods, especially the 902 in G Loomis, is because I can get extreme casting distance as well as maintain full contact with those fish. The longer the rod, the more contact you have with the fish in maintaining tension, which translates to not losing fish all the time. So this one right here is going to be rated for 1/14 to 3 ounce. I'm not sure where they got 1/14. I could easily say you could throw like a 1/16 on here and it makes sense. I'm not sure why they put 1/14 instead of like maybe 1/16. This would be a very good hair jig rod, very good ultra light. I mean, I'm talking what I like to throw, little GP Finesse number 3s, size 3s. This thing is extremely light. It reminds me a lot of the Tatula Elite hair jig rod, the Corey Johnson hair jig rod. Again, it's not going to be as light as the Tatula Elites, especially the AGS ones, but this is a great budget option. I don't think we have a better rod in here for $150. This is going to be the ones we recommend, and that's kind of how we play the game in the tackle store, where we are trying to find the best tackle that we can get for that price range. And this one definitely checks all the boxes for me. Of course, right now for a limited time, you can get the free Daiwa shirt. These guys here are at the shop if you want to check them out. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Of course, if I missed anything, I typically do. Just let me know. We'll be able to get full photos of these and show you them. I can email you those or just shoot me in a message on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. But Daiwa Tatula rods now in stock at Lake Pro Tackle. Very excited to have these. Of course, come check them out and say hi to me at the shop here. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it was a longer video. Make sure you're subscribed, following the YouTube and social media, Instagram and Facebook, and we greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you down at the pond. Thanks for watching, guys.